Thank you, Marcelo. So from GDST, we've now looked at some of the key data elements for crew welfare, and now we're going to go back to Huw, who's going to bring us into the role of markets in implementing electronic monitoring in fisheries. So another round of applause for Huw.
I apologise that you're seeing me twice in one session. It wasn't intentional. There was supposed to be somebody from Huw here, but unfortunately they congratulated me a couple of weeks ago and said I was going to present their slides for them. So this is a slide deck that is normally presented to seafood buyers and retailers, but we felt it was important to provide it to SAFET as well, because I know there's a lot of conversation about EREM, and this is how Huw sees there's an opportunity for seafood buyers to adopt the implementation of EREM. So in terms of, really it's about why should seafood buyers care about the adoption of electronic monitoring and electronic reporting. It's estimated by the FAO that there's 2.5 million motorised fishing vessels operating in the world. And we also know that a lot of the vessels are highly mechanised and can really have a huge impact upon the ocean. Not knowing what those vessels are doing at sea and over the horizon is a problem. And so the whole point of EREM is to enable the intent of understanding what it is. Technology is never the solution, it's the enabler of the intent. And what we're trying to do is understand what's happening so that we can effect not just compliance, but also proper fisheries management. Oh. We're not moving forward. Oh, there we are. There's a time delay, look. Okay. Maybe there's a battery problem, or is it me? Oh, there we are. So why should seafood buyers care? IUU is a big problem. We all know it's a big problem. Somewhere between $10 and $23 billion per year is an issue. 1 in 5 fish are allegedly caught. And so the IUU has a big impact. And so Huw believes that EREM can help tackling that. EREM will help with bycatch because, of course, there's a lot of unaccounted for bycatch, even if it's not targeted. And so there's a need to account for that so that mitigations and plans can be put in place. And overall, there's a need for more accurate data. You've heard from other presenters today. There needs to be an efficiency in terms of data collection, of data curation, handling. And also it needs to be timely, and there's a recognition that electronic monitoring and reporting can help to address all of those things. And also, I think it's well understood that the demand for seafood is expected to double by 2050, which means that the pressure will just continue to increase on both wild capture and aquaculture supply chains. And they're linked through marine ingredients, and so it's critically important to get electronic monitoring and reporting adopted and implemented. So what does EM offer to the marketplace and brands, and how does it impact some of the problems that are faced? So when Huw talks about EREM, it's really talking about the onboard vessels, the cameras, the data logs, and it's quite a narrow area. And that's because they're really focusing upon at the moment, getting adoption at RFMO level. And so, whilst EM can address some of the problems, there's also a need to address them. Sorry. I think I've covered those. As I've said before, there's an economic benefit to EREM. There was an analysis done in the Pacific Longline Fleet, which showed that up to there was a potential benefit of up to $180 million by only just analysing 20% of the information that was being captured by the fleet that was using it, which shows that from a government point of view, from a fisheries management point of view, there's a huge opportunity through the effective adoption and implementation of EREM. Overall, Huw believes there's a real opportunity to bring benefit to governments and consumers and the fishing industry through the adoption. So the question is, what is the push that Huw is asking industry to do in the adoption of EREM? And as I've said before, they're really focusing on the regional fishery tuna management organisations, and that's really because RFMOs control up to 90% of the world's fisheries. There needs to be some standardisation, and if we can get, from a tuna point of view, effectively adopted and implemented EREM on all industrial tuna vessels, there's no reason why it cannot be scaled and put on all vessels around the world. Currently, there are lots of different policies at the different tuna RFMOs, and I've summarised here in this slide where the different RFMOs are. And so the ask of the marketplace is to assist with that standardisation, because people should expect to have the same opportunities whether EREM is adopted at one RFMO or another, or within one supply chain or fishing opportunity. And so as it says, as you can see here, each of the tuna RFMOs are in a different place on that journey in terms of the adoption of electronic monitoring and reporting. The IOTC has got a working group that's adopted, and whilst there's momentum across all RFMOs, it's insufficient, and so there really needs to be a push from the marketplace to tell them that EREM is important. And I think it also has to be recognised when you look at labour that you know, people are still employed as observers rather on land rather than at sea, and so that also provides the opportunity to address some of the labour issues that we've seen. Must be me on this clicker. I won't be doing it again. Oh, so how can seafood buyers help? So the Huw Charitable Trust really is working with seafood buyers and brands around the world. It's talking to them, it's educating them, and they are also trying to take them to some of the RFMO meetings because they think it's important to show governments that the buyers and the brands actually care, and actually talk one-to-one with the governments. And so there's an opportunity for the seafood buyers to be included in the observation. So the action to take really, in terms, as it says here, you know, Huw is encouraging retailers and brands, tuna companies, to put EREM in their policies. Lots of them don't acknowledge it. Commit to advocating at a government and RFMO level. And then, as it says, talk to third-party certification, talk to NGOs, socialise the concept within their supply chain so that it can be properly adopted and implemented. Because, you know, there's a whole conference on digitisation of seafood supply chains and emerging technologies. It's coming, and this is a key part of it. And just a few assets that Huw has got available to seafood buyers specifically, but there's more on EREM from a government point of view. Thank you very much.